Sounds like we're in the freaking Towering Inferno, but it's the opposite, I guess. It's the Towering Icebox.
I turned it off. It's
Thank
about
you.
to get real hot in here.
Like the Towering Inferno.
Yeah.
So it all works out.
That's Chuck Heston, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Towering Inferno as himself.
I haven't seen the Towering Inferno, but I do love 70s disaster movies, like your Poseidon Adventures and whatnot.
Yeah, I haven't seen either Poseidon Adventures.
Or Towering Inferno. Oh, you haven't seen, but you've seen Towering Inferno.
No.
Well, you're such a poser.
Well, I know about it.
You know what? I challenge you to watch Towering Inferno with me. High five it. He did it.
Yeah. Nick wears he keeps a little tack right on his palm, so when you high five him, it automatically becomes a blood pact.
No, I don't do that.
You do it all the time.
I don't like this camera angle because look, you just got all this. No, that's fine.
What?
No, my books are off.
I know. I'm off. I think this has been moved up closer.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like more this way.
What are you gonna do?
You want me to move that this way?
No, that's fine. I'm just saying the books are off center now. It was a lovely display, and you can't see the.
You can move them up. You can move them a little. We got time.
I'm going to. Hold on, everybody.
Yeah. Okay. You make it the way you want it to be. It's important that you're in control, isn't it? Sorry about Nick's back, everybody, but there it is. If you're in line and you're behind Nick, this is what you're seeing. So, if you're going to see like the Rolling Stones soon, and you're behind Nick in line to get into the Rolling Stones, you'll see mostly that. It's a pretty accurate picture.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah. I just told everybody you're going to go see the Rolling Stones.
I am. I'm very excited about it. I think I might do a little remote, as we did for the Marshall Tucker Band, to tell you
With
about
your friend?
with my friend Steve. Yep.
Yeah. Not your brother, Steve.
Not my brother Steve.
Confusing,
Different.
yeah.
I only go to concerts with Steves, but this is a different Steve.
That's true.
All right. Should we start our episode?
Yeah, since you've been the most impatient I've ever seen you.
I haven't. I've been cool as a cucumber.
You're about to see someone very impatient.
Is it you?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 204 of the All the Books Show, recorded at the David A. Howe Public Library. We talk book news, author news, literary news, and sometimes people who worked on getting us to the moon.
Absolutely. I'm excited about this interview today. We're going to be talking to Mr. David Dvorkin. Now, you might remember David from our podcast episode that we did with him last year, episode 149, Take 5 with David Dvorkin. There we focused on his fiction work, particularly some of his Star Trek novels that I'm a fan of. But today, we're going to be talking about his time at NASA. In the interview last time, he was like, oh, of course I had worked at NASA, and just sort of kept going. And we were like, wait, what?
Yeah, Nick did a spit take.
Yeah.
Like, stop the
So
presses.
now,
But we
summer
don't do
reading
that one, yeah.
program, Universal Stories, all space-themed, and I thought, well, let's see if David Dvorkin will join us once again. And he did. Was very generous with his time. We had a great interview. That's coming up a little bit later. But anyway, I'm Nick Gunning.
I'm Eric Mickles.
That's right.
All right. Oh, did I? Yeah, I guess we didn't say that.
No, I think we kind of jumped right in talking about the interview, but they know who they are. They're good people.
Yeah.
All right, should we jump right into bookmark?
Yeah, what have you been reading?
What have I been reading? Boy, what haven't I been reading, right? No, I have. I've read a few things.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you about the graphic novels that I read first.
Hit us.
I read Alpha Flight, Volume 2, by Greg Pak and Fred Van Lente. If you haven't listened to our Fred Van Lente interview, just pop back a few episodes, soundcloud.com/allthebooks.
It was only a few episodes ago.
That's right. Anywhere you find your podcasts, look for the All the Book Show, and you can see our interview with the author, Fred Van Lente. We talk a little bit about this Alpha Flight and many other works of his, particularly Spider-Man and Iron Man.
Yeah.
So I read that. That kind of closes out the Alpha Flight. This was an 8-issue maxi series. Pretty good. They're Canadian superheroes. This time
Maxi
they
series is the Force.
I don't get it.
Doesn't he say Maxi Big is the Force?
I have
Jar Jar
no
Binks.
idea what you're talking about.
Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Maxi Biggs is the Force.
You know what? I can't quote the Star Wars prequels like you can. A point of pride,
All right.
I might add. I read Rise of the Batman, which is the first Detective Comics.
Clayface doesn't look like a Batman.
I know. Issue of Detective Comics, post Rebirth.
Which Robin are we looking at here on the cover?
Tim Drake.
Oh, he's Robin again?
He's Red Robin.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, this is pretty good. It's a Batman team book, and it actually works really well. I sort of avoided this. I hadn't wanted to read it, but I've been reading through on my DC Universe app and got here, and I was very pleasantly surprised. It's a good showcase for Batwoman, so if you're following all the Comic-Con news and all that, Batwoman's getting her own show. If you're not familiar with the character, I think that this actually is a better intro than you might find in some of her solo titles. So again, this is Detective Comics Rise of the Batman, which we do have in our collection.
I can't remember where she first appeared. I know. Did she?
52. The not the new 52, the series 52.
Oh, okay. Did she play heavily in the cowl when Batman was dead, Battle for the Cowl,
Not
or was that
really.
just the movie?
She was there, but I wouldn't say she played heavily.
Okay.
She's kind of based on a Silver Age character, Kathy Kane, who was Batwoman with the red mask.
Yeah.
That character didn't go anywhere, so this is a redux of that.
Yeah,
But
you have only yourself to blame, Kathy Kane.
that's right. I read, and there's the story behind this one, so just bear with me, because I read Michael Jan Friedman's novelization of the movie Batman and Robin.
What's wrong with you?
I know.
What is wrong
I
with
know.
you? No, sorry.
A few episodes back, you may recall that I did a deep dive into Battlefield Earth.
He sure
The
did.
book by L. Ron Hubbard.
And then shared it all with us.
Yes, I did. Because I was doing a guest spot on Eric's podcast outside of the library called Three Nice Things,
That's
where
true.
we watch a bad movie
Yep.
and we try to come up with three nice things about it. So I read Battlefield Earth for that.
Yeah.
Eric asked me to join him again for the Batman and Robin episode, and I thought, well, I've set a precedent.
He did this, both
So-
times he's done this to himself. Nobody's like, hey, would you mind reading this book? He's like, you know what I'm going to do?
So
I'm
I-
going to experience this twice.
So I read the novelization. I'm a fan of novelizations.
You sure
and
are.
so like I sped through this pretty quickly. And I don't want to give much away. You're going to have to listen to Three Nice Things. But I will just tell you this. Michael Jan Friedman wrote a novelization of a much better film than the one that we watched.
Oh,
So-
okay. Yeah, on the book, I thought Akiva Goldsman was the author. But
No,
no, they
no,
wrote the
it's based
screenplay.
So anyway, I read those
Interesting.
things. Then I
But you
read...
said
yeah.
you said the forward is interesting.
Yes. The forward, I wish I had it with me, but he has some quote that's basically like, you know, this was a great, exciting story, and I know the movie's just could be just as great and just as exciting as this script was. And I was like, oh, Michael
Batman and Robin is
Jan.
going to blow you away.
Somewhere George Clooney is a single tear dropping.
Christian Bale, who?
then-
no need.
Then I read When We Landed on the Moon by today's guest, David Dvorkin. So we mentioned this in the interview, but it is available in paperback. Our copy is coming here to the library. You can also pick it up on ebook, and the ebook was pretty cheap at the moment, so go and check that out anywhere you get your ebooks. It's an excellent short memoir of his time NASA, and we're going to get into this in the interview, but just for my quick review of it, you may have read some of the bigger novels, or not novels, the bigger memoirs and things of that time. This is a nice brief memoir that really focuses on sort of the personal aspect of it. He does an excellent job of, you know, I read that and I finished it and I felt like I had more of a sense of what it would be like to just sort of, you know, go and punch your clock at NASA and be there working. Like, it was a really... In that way, I feel like it was a really good window into that time. So if you're a space nut like many of you are, and have read a lot of the other books about the Apollo missions and that sort of thing, I do still recommend you check this out, because it gives you a slice of something different, which I think is challenging to do in an era and a subject that's been so heavily covered. But he does manage to give you something that I don't think you've had before. So I encourage you to check that out. I am currently reading Being John Lennon by Ray Connolly. This is the most recent Lennon biography. I've read
He's
one
still
other
writing.
biography, not autobiography.
Oh, yeah. So he has somebody like listening while he's dictating.
I read Philip Norman's a while back. Philip Norman, if you read any of Beatle books, you know that he's a bit of a divisive figure.
Oh.
Basically because of his well-known, well-documented hatred of Paul McCartney. So it just kind of like reading the Lennon book that he wrote. I really liked it. I thought it was a good book, but the role that McCartney plays in that is like, you know, just very not a
Where
good.
does Paul McCartney get off making popular music that everybody enjoys?
Yeah, you're not that far off. So I'm you know, probably about halfway through this, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And that's Being John Lennon by Ray Connolly.
Ooh, it's called A Restless Life.
Oh, yeah, that's right. A Restless
bottom.
Life is the subtitle. Yep. And it is good. It's good. Again, this is another thing that there's been a million books written on this, but this author is a journalist who was friendly with John, was actually scheduled to interview him the day John was assassinated, was like getting on the plane to go and meet him. So a lot of firsthand knowledge there, and just you know, a good writer as a journalist. This is not a book, but I finished the first Portal game, so I just wanted to tell everybody
congratulations.
20 years late that
that's all right.
I played that game.
Yeah.
What about you? You had kind of an active...
I played Portal a
have.
while ago, yeah.
Have you? Portal
Yeah.
Portal 1?
Portal 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Yeah, Half-Life.
Haven't played 2 yet.
Half-Life games.
Okay.
So.
But you had a
Team
pretty
Fortress.
busy weekend. You went to a concert.
I did. Oh,
Tell
I
us-
did.
tell us a little bit
I
about
went
the
to Video
concert.
Games Live
Yep.
again. Did I mention this before? Last time I went to Video Games Live?
I can't remember.
Back in when we had like a snowstorm. That was terrible.
Okay.
But anyways, yes, I went to Video Games Live in Buffalo, New York, not 2 moons ago.
Okay.
It was good. This is my third time seeing video games live, and I gotta tell you, I'm probably gonna only now go. I've gotten my fill.
Okay.
A lot. So now it's definitely gonna be like I'll go when I have people who haven't seen it, because when there's new people there, they get so excited.
Let me ask you this: how does this relate, if at all, to an upcoming couple of episodes we're going to do?
Oh, hey, this does relate. Because
Does it? Okay, because I'm never quite sure. How
in a couple of episodes, we're going to talk about music we listen to while we read.
Yeah.
So start thinking about what you listen to while you read,
Yes,
if anything at all.
Remember, you can get that to us at All the Book Show at Gmail, All
Twitter.
the Book Show on Twitter,
Facebook.
David A. Howe Public Library.
Yeah.
Any way you want, but we do want some listener feedback.
Yeah.
But sorry.
And we're talking. We've also interviewed one of the heads of Overclocked Remix, which is a massive video game music site for it all. But yeah, so Video Games Live is a ongoing concert tours that plays orchestral versions of your favorite video game music. So I always enjoy hearing their Metal Gear Solid rendition, which gets me very excited. This time,
I don't know that music.
yeah, I could sing it to you.
Not now. A different time.
Okay. They played some Final Fantasy X, which I hadn't seen them do before. They did Halo, which I haven't seen since the first time I saw them.
Was Pac-Man there, or did he?
There's some Pac-Man stuff, but they didn't play any Pac-Man music.
himself.
No, they used to. First time I saw them, I think they did like an arcade medley,
Which
might have included.
Nice.
I was just doing a violin motion, so Nick knew that they were orchestral.
I understood. I don't understand whether or not you've seen a violin.
Yeah,
before,
no.
But
So they're usually with the orchestra that's in town. So this was with the Buffalo Philharmonic.
Oh, that's nice.
And the local choir, and it was a very good show.
Nice.
So yeah, if you see Video Games Live touring, you should definitely go and bring people.
Bring your friends.
There's always some people there that are like, I'm only here to support the orchestra, and they're all like, I don't want to listen to Mario music. But then everybody else is all happy with Mario music.
Yeah, they like the Mario music.
All right.
When I was in college, the college orchestra, philharmonic, whatever you say, would always do an annual Star Trek concert.
Yeah.
Super great.
Yeah.
That's all.
Like of the movies? Of the shows?
Yeah, yeah, both. A little
nice.
Both. They would do the themes, but they would also do like the Wrath of Khan type theme and stuff. So
that was your jam.
Have I mentioned that I like the Star Trek?
Yes.
I have. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I saw the movie yesterday.
Oh. I feel like I should have
your
seen
mileage
this movie,
may vary.
Thank you.
Sorry about that pause. I was trying to think of how to say it. If you're a Beatles fan, your mileage will probably get you further along than this guy. I was ready for it to end about 20 minutes before it ended. But there you go. I don't know if I Want to Hold Your Hand would really blow up the internet in 2019 like it does in this movie, but who knows?
Yeah.
My wife really liked it. It has a weird balance between this whole like the Beatles didn't exist but one guy remembers them concept and just being like a romantic comedy dramedy kind of thing. So, all right, I finished The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James.
Oh, yes.
Why, Nick?
Our next episode 205, is going to feature an exclusive interview with Lauren James, and we're going to talk a little bit about the book, The Loneliest Girl in the Universe.
Yeah. I liked it. I definitely liked it more at the first half. It becomes kind of a different book. I can't really say anything without
It
getting
is hard
into
to
spoilers.
talk about, yeah.
Even on Goodreads, this was the first time I've ever clicked the spoiler warning button on Goodreads.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a fan of the beginning stuff where we're just kind of focusing on human nature.
I would agree with that. But I was actually really entertained the whole way through.
Oh, I should say that even though I said that, I read about 250 pages straight.
Wow.
In one sitting. Like, I just woke up at 9 o'clock. I was like, let's see how far I can get in this book.
Well, that was it for me.
Yeah.
I guess we shouldn't talk about this too much. But, it is a young adult novel, and it's geared for that audience. So, with that in mind, it is very compelling. And, like, there were things that as an adult I probably would have not... I was less interested in focusing on, but
the cover and the title...
target, it's very good.
Yeah, the cover and the title don't really... present itself as the page turner that it becomes.
Absolutely.
So.
I agree. But we should stop talking about it
because
we're going to do a whole episode.
I finished The Sheriff of Babylon, Volume 2, which means now I have finished The Sheriff of Babylon. You see how I'm saying it now?
I do, yeah.
You
You're
wanted me
saying sheriff.
yeah.
Well, you were just saying sheriff before.
Sheriff of Babylon.
It's not a word.
So now I'm saying Sheriff of Babylon.
As in there's a new sheriff in
This
town.
is by Tom King and Mitch Gerrits, and I could probably double check if Mitch Gerrits drew for Mr. Miracle, the Tom King book that won the Eisner Award, but I'm not going to do it. Anyway, The Sheriff of Babylon.
It's pronounced sheriff.
12-issue story about a specific story set in the Middle East, the war of Iraq, or Afghanistan. I'm going to cut out the part where I do not remember which country it's in because
think
the
that's
Middle
wise.
East is just a cluster
I think that
of
you should do that.
problems with us there. But it's good. It's definitely.
Did you say Mitch Gerards?
Yeah.
Okay, yep, you're right.
He did.
Mr. Miracle.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
So they teamed back up for that.
Yes.
But yeah, it's good. It's kind of a brutal look at the whole situation, but it's interesting. This was a Vertigo title. I think this might have been like the last big Vertigo title, last big hit for them.
RIP.
Yeah, rip. So I read this book called The Private Eye by Brian K. Vaughan.
Okay.
And Marcos Martin, I believe, is the illustrator. It's weird. So if you've seen this book anywhere, it's one of those like short but long print book styles.
Okay.
Like an old Calvin and Hobbes or Garfield
Yeah.
collection, because they released
Garfield the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They released this on online first and then printed it. So basically, this is in the future where, in pretty close to our time now, the digital cloud just burst, and everybody's information of everything was just out there, and it like ruined lives and society and everything. And so the internet is outlawed. There is no internet, and now reporters are basically the police.
Oh, okay.
And everybody's identity is kept secret. Everybody wears like masks out in public and hides their identity and has multiple identities. And you only take your mask off when you're with like a trusted person.
Kind of like the Bruce Willis film Surrogates.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But
Based on a graphic novel.
so we follow the main character, who's a private eye, and tries to find out what people are doing in their secret lives.
Of bees?
No, not secret lives of bees.
Sorry. Something different.
It's actually really interesting. There's a lot of stuff in here that's really like ingenious. So
This is still Sheriff of Babylon?
no, this is Private Eye.
Private Eye. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
it's okay. I don't listen when you talk.
No,
either.
I'm sorry. I was listening. I couldn't remember. I got distracted with Tom King.
What did Tom King do?
I was trying to
Did he just do something new?
No.
Oh.
Go on. You were talking about Sheriff of Babylon. I
Yeah,
believe.
I was. So I really liked it. You should check out the Private Eye.
Private Eye.
It's one and done. It's a standalone thing, but the art is gorgeous.
Would you recommend reading that and listening to the Hall & Oates song Private Eyes?
I don't know that one.
Tonally, do you think oh, okay.
Is that like the Metal Gear Solid theme?
No, it's different.
Metal Gear goes,
No, it's a good hand claps. Watching you. Like that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
No, different.
Did I finish?
You tell me, big guy. I don't know.
I think that's it for me then.
Okay.
For what I read.
All right. You playing any good video games at the moment?
I have had no time. I've had two different incarnations of family visit the past.
That's true.
The past 2 weeks.
As have I.
Yeah.
It's been an exceptionally busy,
Yep.
family heavy couple of weeks.
My wife's family was here, but I also had to take some time out to go see Nic and Annie. Did you not talk? Yeah, we did talk about it.
We talked a little bit. I was in a production of Annie.
Yeah.
I played Rooster.
Yep. So, and then we've just been so busy here at work.
We have.
So,
well, it's a summer reading program.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Very
we were
busy
just at
time.
a fair
We were.
on Monday.
Yeah.
We've been doing our summer feeding program.
Yes.
And there was also something really big. We just had our book fair.
Yeah, that's true. This past weekend here in Wellsville was Balloon Rally Saturday, where the big balloon launches happen. Huge street fair. We had the farmers market, we had the SPCA, opening day of our book sale. And let me tell you what, I think this is the busiest we've ever been
during the book
at
sale.
a book sale.
It was real
so.
busy.
I really think
Nick,
so.
Nick had to leave with just a bundle of cash.
It's
because he
true.
did not feel comfortable.
I didn't. The
with how
cash
many
box
sales
was just like, it was insane.
Yeah.
So it has been a really busy week because we're at the peak of the summer reading program.
Yeah.
So we've got our
the Pikachu of the summer reading
Tuesdays on the
program.
terrace every Tuesday. We
Yeah,
got music
that's
on
been
the
busy
lawn
too.
every Thursday evening. We've got programs all the time. Our theme this month is a universe of stories, which has been a lot of fun for us. Sometimes I don't really like the themes that we get. There's been a couple that are more challenging than others.
The construction one.
Yeah, but I think this space theme has really opened up a lot of doors.
Space doors.
Yeah, space doors. Airlocks, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to open those up.
Oh, you don't?
Not if you're on the ship.
I have to make a call.
George Clooney, don't.
No, really though, it has opened a lot of doors for us. I think the kinds of programming we've been able to do has been a lot different than the things we've done in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
The amount of like hands-on stuff we've been able to do, I think it's been great. So yes, we have been incredibly busy, and this week we were very fortunate to have someone who was there when it happened. David Dvorkin's back with us today. Now, I first became aware of David Dvorkin's writing about 15 years ago.
Wow.
When I read The Trellisane Confrontation, one of his 3 Star Trek books. He also wrote The Captain's Honor, which is a Next Generation novel, and Time Trap, which is the original series. All a lot of fun, all classic
I feel like
Star
I've heard
Trek.
you talk about Time Trap.
Yeah,
a
Time
regular.
Trap.
Yeah.
I don't see. That's another one where I really feel like I can't talk about it without giving it away. But we do have these in our collection, so you can check it out. Outside of that, if you check out his website Dvorkin.com, you can see that he has just a huge list of both fiction and nonfiction works.
Yeah.
Short story collection Earthmen and Other Aliens is really fun. A lot of good stories in there. His most recent thing, When We Landed on the Moon, a memoir, chronicles the time he spent working at NASA from 1967 to 1971, which is prime time. I mean, that's
moon landing.
That is prime time in NASA. So here we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, and we were able to sit down with David Dvorkin and discuss some of his time here in great detail. And here's some of the stories that you're just not going to find anywhere else. So
do we get a little Richard Nixon kicking?
Got a little talking Nixon, a little bit of inside scoop, things you're not going to hear on the news. So so take it away. Let's do it.
All right, so Twitch.
Sorry.
We haven't edited the interview because we did it not like 2 hours ago.
Moments ago.
So you'll have to go find the audio version of this podcast, which we'll release soon. Or we're also releasing the interview separate with our previous Dvorkin. So that's a double Dvorkin interview.
Yeah, so again, if you're subscribed on iTunes or any place like that, you can find it. While you're there, what a great time to leave a review, to rate and review and share the podcast on iTunes or wherever you can do that. It helps people find out about this. But
studies show that if you're trying to quit smoking and you listen to this podcast, might help. Maybe.
But no studies found that, and it's definitely not true.
No, it's not
just
a scientific,
to clarify.
Right. I'm just saying if studies were done, maybe.
But they weren't. And I can't stress that enough. All right, let us give you just a quick. You know what? Actually,
Don't point at me when you're this intense and scared.
And David Dvorkin are the only people who have heard this interview because we did not have a splitter. So
That's
Eric's
true.
only heard my half.
When
of
I
this.
sit down to edit it, it's going to be my first.
It's going to be an experience. So let me
yelling down the hall. Stop the presses.
I hope that you'll go and listen to the interview because it's great. But if you're not going to, let me give you some of the highlights. Okay. So David Dvorkin was hired at NASA, fresh out of college. They were very overzealous in their hiring, so he received a notice later where they tried to contact him and say, "We hired too many people. We can't fire you, but if you decided you didn't want to work at NASA, let us know." Luckily, David was on a camping trip in the heart of Canada and did not get this message and just showed up at NASA. So they were like, well, welcome aboard.
Yeah, welcome to NASA.
So then he spent the next 4 years there, working on the different Apollo missions. His main focus was calculating the degree of error that any given situation was going to have. So he talks a lot about how there were so many people working on individual portions of this and how each one of them really had sort of supreme authority over their own little corner of this section. Yeah.
Too much for me.
Yeah, so it's a very stressful situation where you're one in a line of many who are working out these calculations and moving them on to the next person, and then you're integrating that into your work and moving it on. So not only can you not make an error because it could, cause a spaceship to crash into the moon, but you also can't delay. You can't be like, oh, I need to do that again. So you have the pressure of getting it right, and you have the pressure of making sure you're not holding up the process because things are moving quickly.
Yeah.
And it was not a kind of thing where we were like, well, we'll just wait an extra week. Things have to happen when they happen. So we talked a lot about that, a lot about the stress of it, a lot about just the camaraderie and the general environment that was there. He was of course in Texas at the time when all this was happening. He said about 15 to 20,000 folks were there working on their own little section of it. He had some opportunities to with Apollo 15 to actually be in the mission control room, watching and listening to what was going on. So, we've all seen some footage in the most popular audio clips of that time. But David was actually sitting there monitoring it as it was happening. So he tells some great stories about the two astronauts driving on the moon with the rover. So Apollo 15 was the first with a rover, and how one of them was just kind of a daredevil, basically. It would just he said he would hear through the headphones the other guy being like, Dave, that's a pretty big crater there, Dave. Dave, and then as he'd plow through a crater on the moon.
Yeah.
So
That's hilarious.
I know. So he just had a lot of cool inside stuff like that. And just the once you get off the clock, they'd go to the officers' lounge at the Air Force Base, and he'd see famous astronauts sort of being like, hey, I was on the moon. Let's go back to my room.
Jeez.
So it's a cool interview. So I'm not doing it justice, so I hope that you will go and listen to that. Should we go back in with our episode now?
And we're back.
Thanks again to David Dvorkin for taking the time with us. As he mentioned, his website's dvorkin.com, has links to all of his writings there. You can find them there. You can check out quite a few of them right here from our library. I want to say thanks again to David for taking the time to talk to us. We really enjoyed it. It's, I don't know, it was exciting for me to just kind of, that's just you're one away from that level of history. You know what I mean? To be able to talk to him and hear his experiences, doing these things that we just know, like Neil Armstrong and the moon landing and NASA and the Apollo missions. Like, those are just things that are, you just always know them. They're just ingrained in your mind. And you sort of like take that for granted, I think, or at least I do, to think about just what an accomplishment and what an experience that was. So to hear David's personal stories of that and be able to ask him questions and get feedback on what that was like, I think was really great. So I hope that you enjoyed it as well. But let's talk library news, man.
Right. I got a question, though.
You do?
You do the moon level in the old DuckTales?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
The old DuckTales NES game.
Yeah.
We all also got to
we
go
all
to the moon
we've
bit
all experienced
as
a little
Scrooge
bit.
McDuck.
Yes. Yes, of course those are the same. What do you have coming up library-wise?
Jeez Louise. Kids hang out on Tuesdays, teen night on Wednesdays. We're doing the summer feeding program until, I believe, August 8th. So we've got another 3 weeks of that.
So that's free meals for kids starting at 11:30?
11:30 to 12:30 p.m.
Monday through Thursday.
Yeah. I tell you what, on some of those hotter days, those juice boxes look so good.
Yeah.
The next movie we're showing is going to be August 2nd, and that's going to be 5 Feet Apart, about those teens who are in love, but they're sick and they can't be 5 feet.
Oh, yes.
They got to stay 5 feet apart.
Yep.
So, and then, we have a space program coming, not the space program.
We do. On Friday, July 26th, former NASA consultant Kevin Manning is going to present on the beauty and harmony of the universe. So first he'll do a presentation with slides and different things, and then everybody's actually going to go out on the back terrace with a special high-powered telescope and be able to see some of the things that Kevin Manning's pointing out. So yes, hope you can join us for that. Other than that, we have a whole slew of movies coming up. We've got our YA for Adult book club, where we're going to be focusing on The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James. 5:30 on the 25th of July. That's a Thursday. Right after that, the Around the World book club is reading The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros, which is going to be held over at the Creative Arts Center. Yeah. So I hope you can join us for any of those.
Yeah.
All right.
I was about to say there was something else going on.
Yeah.
Oh boy, brain broken. Music on the Lawn.
Thank you.
We have Music on the Lawn every Thursday.
Music on the Lawn.
We host Music on the Lawn every Thursday.
Yes, we do.
But we just had Elvis, so if you missed him, you missed him.
Yes, that's the big popular hit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. All right. Well, our thanks again to today's special guest, David Dvorkin. The new memoirs, When We Landed on the Moon, available anywhere you can find books and ebooks. We'll have the paperback here just as soon as our copy comes hot off the presses. We'll see you next week with special guest Lauren James.
Yay. And bye, Twitch.
Yeah, see you guys.
On the moon.